Morning Watch with host Reverend Dr. Dallin Toussaint.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org. And if you're overseas and on the move, U.S. listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you're in the UK, 0330-332-6541. Or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. In the first watch today, the coming COVID vaccine mandate, realities and responses. In the second watch, are we relating to each other right? A discussion on conflict resolution. Our social media question we ask, what do you do to avoid conflicts with others? Please share your responses on our Love 101 FM Facebook page and YouTube channel, and also on WhatsApp 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your responses later on in the program, but before all of that, here's I quote.
This morning's I quote, Light Tomorrow with Today, Elizabeth Barrett Browning.
Yeah, light tomorrow with today. Interesting quotation there. Do what we can today to brighten tomorrow. Good morning, Shavani.
Good morning, Rev. How are you?
I'm okay. You?
Good, thank you.
Hey, I'm going to throw the question to you again,
Uh-huh.
What do you do to avoid conflicts with others? What does Shavani Blair do?
Avoid them.
You take for yourself.
Yeah, I take of myself, yeah.
It has worked over the years, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it has. It continues to work, actually.
Yeah. Especially what's going on nowadays. We take ourselves more readily than other times, you know?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we're living in dangerous times. All right, we'll talk about it later. Yeah. The first watch will be back after this break.
I've got love in my heart and I'm feeling blessed.
Get ready for another World of Worship Wednesdays out alive, 1 to 5, January 19. Stick around for Prayer Blast at 2 o'clock. More prayer, more power. 2:15, we feature Nigerian gospel singer Judy K as our worship artist of the day. Then at 3 p.m., we bring you the Alive Bible Challenge ABC semi-final match number 1, featuring challenger Justine Salmon of the Portland Road Evangelistic Church of God, who is going up against defending champion challenger Dwayne Bryan of the Seven Crowns Church of God of Prophecy. All this and more will come your way inside Alive 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. with me, your host, Sarah and the Chirpy One, on the family station, ranking number 4 on the extensive local radio landscape and number 1 in gospel, Love 101.
They say love isn't enough to keep a couple together. But what were some of the questions you discussed before marriage? Overlooked the red flags? What's on your 2022 non-negotiable marital list? If you need some help, we got you. Listen to the truly marvelous program To Have and to Hold this Thursday, January 20 at 5:30 p.m. with host Helene Beckles and guest counseling psychologist Andre Allen Casey as they discuss no deal breakers for my marriage in 2022. That's the truly marvelous program To Have and to Hold Marriages, and it happens this and every Thursday at 5:30 p.m. right here on Love 101, the family station.
Love 101 wishes to advise our listeners of a few programming changes to accommodate the broadcast of the National Leadership Prayer Breakfast scheduled for this Thursday, January 20. The program Forward in Faith, brought to you by the Portmore New Testament Church of God in Bayside, Portmore, will be aired at 9 a.m. And the feature Dollars and Cents, brought to you by BPM Financial, will be aired at 10:15 a.m. on Thursday, January 20. Thank you for keeping it locked to Love 101, the family station.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Now, last week, Prime Minister Andrew Holness reportedly announced that a COVID-19 vaccinate or test mandate would be coming for public sector workers. How is that announcement going down with employees and employers alike? Also, how will they respond if or when this mandate comes into effect? Well, to discuss these and other related matters, we have joining us this morning on the First Watch, Mrs. Helene Davis White, President of the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions, and Mr. David Wan, President of the Jamaica Employers Federation. Good morning to you both, and best wishes for 2022.
Morning, and the very same to you, Ralph.
Good morning. Is Mr. Wan with us? Oh, he's not on as yet. Okay. We await his arrival. Good morning again, Mrs. Davis White.
Yes, morning.
Good to have you. Good to have you. I must ask you before we delve into the meat of our discussion, could you share with us how the recent fourth wave has been affecting members of your organization? And I want to ask you as well, Mrs. Davis White, what are your views on the Prime Minister's argument done comment?
Well, how has the fourth wave been affecting us? We've been getting reports from members that who are now back at work, certainly those in the public sector, based on the removal of the work from home order that had been in effect for months. That the reports that we've been getting suggest that more and more workers in the public sector are coming down with the COVID-19, whether they themselves or the fact that they have been exposed and so have to be out from work as a result of their exposure as well. Mm-hmm. So we've been getting more and more complaints about staff shortages as a result of workers having to isolate, whether by virtue of exposure or by them actually having the virus themselves. We've also been getting reports from some who are concerned about their children who are now back at school as well, because some of the exposure has come as a result of their children coming home with the virus, and it has affected them because they cannot now be out at work because they have to be dealing with their children who are also now down with the virus. So, and it doesn't seem that, well, certainly with regard to the vaccination, those who are vaccinated, what it says to us is that most of them are not actually critically ill. They may not be seriously ill, but because they have been exposed and they have flu-like symptoms, they have to be home as well. So this is something that is telling us clearly that in terms of those who are vaccinated, they still are catching the virus, but they are not as ill or so ill that they have to be hospitalized.
Right.
So those are the kinds of reports that we've been getting about how workers are coping with this fourth wave of the virus. But I think it was expected,
Right.
and I know at the level of the Confed, we have been involved in a campaign trying to um, prepare our country, our workers, for what the fourth wave might look like. And so we can say it was unexpected. It was expected.
Yeah.
In terms of the Prime Minister's argument on statement,
Yeah.
I think the Prime Minister came across as being frustrated, and I think many of us are frustrated because certainly from our point of view, we have supported the government vaccination program. We have encouraged all our members to get vaccinated. We have, been out there communicating the benefits of the vaccination and so on. But a lot of persons still are not convinced. And so, I can understand the frustration, but I don't think the Prime Minister has the benefit of being able to respond in that kind of manner. You really have to, you know, try to determine what is the next best move in the situation where persons remain unconvinced, and so it conveyed to persons certainly that the government was virtually throwing its hands up in the air, and I don't think we have. Well, the government certainly doesn't have that luxury. So I think in Jamaican parlance, the government has to really basically just reel and come again.
So argument not done as
It
far as you're
can't be.
concerned.
It can't be, especially because the vaccinated are also being affected, and so you have to make sure that whatever can be done should be done in terms of protecting persons, sometimes even protecting them from themselves.
Mm, yeah. But therein lies the whole matter of our topic this morning, because he also said last week reportedly that a COVID-19 vaccine or test mandate is coming, whatever that means, right? For public sector workers. What is your understanding of the mandate? And for the record, what are your current views?
Well, what we understand a vaccine or test mandate to be is that the government would be um, telling public sector workers that they should be vaccinated or face testing before they can enter their work sites. And again, for us, that is not unexpected because it has been happening in various countries in the Caribbean and across the world. So, and especially because the task force that the Prime Minister had had named had actually communicated that they believe that that should happen. I think they communicated that somewhere in November thereabouts. So again, we can't say that we are surprised. However, we still continue to maintain that despite the fact that we support the vaccination program, we
Yeah.
don't believe that that kind of mandate is something that should be implemented at this time. We believe more time should still be given for ensuring that the communication gets to persons in their communities where they are, in their homes, etc., before we get to that. What is our view is that the communication campaign has been more or less at the national level, and there has been an attempt to start it in the communities, but it is still, we don't believe that it has gone to the nooks and crannies in the way that it should be. Because, one of the things that we have identified coming from the various surveys that have been done, that there are a fair number of persons who have not indicated that they are totally opposed to the vaccine. They are what would be called hesitant, and if given information, they are likely to be convinced to want to
Well,
take the vaccine.
I'm so
So
sorry,
we
Mrs.
believe,
I'm so sorry, Mrs. Mrs. White. Could you just hold that thought? We are up on a break. We'll be right back.
There are a million reasons to want to own a home.
I want more space for the children.
I am tired of paying rent.
My wife and I want an investment.
Go from future plans to keys in hand with an NCB mortgage. Get rates as low as 6.95%, 100% financing, and up to 40 years to repay. Plus, get the life insurance and home insurance you need all in one place. Visit myhome.jncb.com to get started. Conditions apply.
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life-changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness wishes to remind members of the public that if they develop mild flu-like symptoms, they are to remain at home and monitor themselves while observing the infection prevention and control measures. If symptoms worsen or persist beyond 3 days, or if you have chronic illnesses, then you should seek medical advice. And this can be from your private practitioner, from the health center, or from the parish health department. Persons may be advised to do a COVID-19 test. This can be done privately or in the public health system by referral. A list of public health testing sites is available on the Ministry of Health and Wellness's website. Persons with severe symptoms should seek immediate medical attention. All persons are encouraged to frequently wash their hands, wear a mask, get vaccinated. If you are due a booster, take the booster. Observe physical distancing. Avoid crowded spaces. Stay hydrated, exercise regularly, and eat healthy so that you can protect yourselves and fight COVID-19.
This is Love 101. It's 18 minutes after 7 o'clock.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. And in this, the first watch, we are discussing the coming COVID vaccine mandate, realities and responses. We have online so far Mrs. Helene Davis White, President of the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions. And before the break, I believe she was explaining to us her understanding of the hesitancy of the members of her organization. Mrs. Davis White, please continue.
Yeah, so as I was saying, we have identified a fair number. I think the figure that we are looking at is approximately 30% of the population that have indicated hesitancy, and this hesitancy could in fact be resolved if they got information, because one of the problems that we've been finding is that, you know, particularly the social media campaign and even the information that persons get from their peers and their family members is such that, you know, many of them are very concerned about the effects of the virus, etc. And we believe that if more time is given to be able to go to persons in their communities and have conversations with them, so that you know, whatever fears they have could be allayed. And one of the things that we have been involved in doing, along with private sector and other civil society counterparts, is that we have been on a campaign trying to get that information into the nooks and crannies of Jamaica. And in those efforts, we have included in the team of persons who go into communities, you know, doctors and nurses with in whom a lot of these persons have confidence. And so we believe that if we do more of that, then we will be able to get more persons on board before we get to the point of wanting to implement a vaccine or test mandate. What I would also indicate is that because many of us as leaders in the private sector, the union movement, civil society, recognize that, we probably would be at this point at some time. We believe that we needed to develop some guidance for employers as to how they approach this whole matter of developing a policy in relation to COVID-19
Right.
vaccinations.
Right.
And that guidance that was developed, I think would apply to the government also as employer. And the main thing that the guidance spoke to is the ability first and foremost to be able to get information to workers in their workspaces, and not only get the information but make sure that you could have one-on-one discussions and so on with persons. And
But before you even go there, Mrs. Davis White, is your organization in principle against a vaccine mandate?
No. As I said before, in terms of a mandate, as we said,
yes,
at this point in time, in principle, we recognize that the government, through public health regulations and laws, have that authority to make decisions in relation to ensuring the public health of our citizens.
Right.
And so, because we recognize that, we are not in principle totally against a mandate, but we are saying before you get to that point, there are things that have to be done to ensure that people have all the information that they need in order to make that decision, and that the employer should do everything possible to get that information out, have the discussions, and also have the vaccines available. So the employer should be ensuring access to the vaccines as well.
That's there.
That's also one of the things we identified, though.
The Prime Minister is arguing that the vaccines are available now.
No, they are available, but in terms of persons' ability to access the vaccines, I think more still needs to be done in terms of vaccination sites. There are
they need to go.
Situations where people will go to vaccination sites and they're not able to get the vaccines because in terms of whether these sites are always open, the hours that they are open, those are things that militate against persons being able to have easy access to the vaccines. If I'm a worker and my employer isn't giving me the time to go and get vaccinated, then it means that I have a difficulty because the vaccination sites may be open at times when I'm at work. And so these are some of the things that, we still think need to be dealt with to ensure that there is easy access. And if there is an acceptance by employers that, they need to make it as easy as possible, for persons to get the access to the vaccines, then, a lot of these things will be addressed. And I will say that there are many employers who have actually started that process. I mean, particularly employers who have been involved with the private sector vaccine initiative. Most of them are reporting very high rates of vaccination among their employees. So we are saying if more of this is done, then we have fewer and fewer persons who will be unvaccinated in Jamaica.
It has been reported that your organization has written to the Prime Minister seeking audience with him in light of his statement last week. Can you give us an update on that?
Well, the letter has gone to the Prime Minister. We have not yet received a response. And our letter is really saying to the Prime Minister that, we thought there should be discussions and consultations with worker organizations before making such an announcement. Granted, it has not actually started, so I think there's still time for that consultation and discussion to take place, and that would be in keeping with the guideline that has been developed by all these groups together. And so what we are basically saying to the Prime Minister, before you go ahead and implement any such mandate, we need to have discussions so that, they can have the benefit of our experience, in terms of the discussions that we have been having with members, and and so that all actions can be taken before any such mandate is implemented to try and ensure that more persons are vaccinated.
And if such discussions are not forthcoming, what will your organization do going forward?
Well, we are not at the point of any kind of decision. We are certain that we will have that kind of discussion. I mean, in terms of government as employer and the relationship between the government and the trade union movement, we have avenues that are open. We have the public sector monitoring committee that meets regularly, that deals with all policy matters regarding the public sector. So, enough avenues are open so that we believe that one of those avenues will certainly be taken up, if even direct discussion with the Prime Minister himself. But as I said, we are confident that the discussions and consultations will take place.
In the latter part of last year, the Prime Minister reportedly stated the following at a press conference, and I quote, "As it stands now, and we have discussed it in Cabinet, the government is not thinking about nor inclined to mandate any vaccines. In fact, we don't believe that is something that that would meet the constitutional test. The constitutional test," end of quote. What are your concerns in that regard, Mrs. Davis-White?
Well, I think the word mandate is what is important, and there are some persons who believe that our government should be able to just issue a mandate and be able to implement it. But I think what the Prime Minister was saying there is, if it is a mandate that is saying, it depends on what the mandate is. Yeah. So the vaccine or test mandate is something that is shown to be able to be implemented. I mean, we already have a vaccine mandate in place for children, because what that is saying is that children have to be vaccinated in order to be able to attend school. If they are not vaccinated, they cannot attend school. And so that is a kind of mandate that already exists in Jamaica. And
what was he talking about? What was he talking about then? I mean, constitutional test. What was he talking about?
There are some persons who believe, I can't really
I know you can't answer that, but I'm just wondering.
For the Prime Minister. I know there are some persons who believe that the government can say you have to take this vaccination or else, and the or else is what is important. If it is or else, get tested before you can enter government or receive government services, that is something that can in fact be implemented. But if it is vaccine, take the vaccine or you may be incarcerated or you may face a fine, whatever. I think that's more difficult to implement. So to our minds, it is about what that mandate is actually saying, and a vaccine or test mandate is something that has been shown to have worked in Jamaica, and it is working in other countries in relation to COVID-19. So the Prime Minister will have to be able to clarify what he was saying in that regard, because there are many persons who took it to mean that the government would, under no circumstances whatsoever, require Jamaicans to be vaccinated or else.
Right. Well, more are none. We want to thank you so very much, Mrs. Davis-White, for joining us this morning. And have a productive day and stay safe, eh?
Thanks very much, and the very same to you.
Thank you. Listeners, the Morning Watch will return in just a moment.
Now with no processing fees and no down payment, it's time to open the door to your own sweet home. The time by JN Bank is
7:30, folks, on the Sound of Love.
From generation to generation, Jamaicans have depended on JN Bank to make the pride and joy of providing a safe place for their families possible. Now, with no processing fees and no down payment mortgage options, you can open the door to your own sweet home, a legacy to hand to your next generation. Visit jnbank.com to get pre-approved today. JN Bank will help you find a way.
Planning to sit the May-June CXC exams privately? Register with Overseas Examinations Commission before the late registration deadline, Friday, January 21. Visit our Kingston office or Montego Bay office to complete your application form, or send an email to help@overseasexams.org.jm. Follow our social media pages at Overseas Exams for more details. Remember, if you plan to sit the May-June CXC exams privately, the late registration deadline is January 21.
Hello.
Hello?
Goodbye.
Goodbye? What are you doing?
I'm saying hello to peace of mind and goodbye to worry.
Oh, I'd like to say that too.
Well, with Guardian Life's new Ultimate Provider, you can secure your medical expenses in the event of critical illness ahead of time and benefit from their investment portfolio too.
Wow, so it's hello peace of mind.
And goodbye worry with Guardian Life's new Ultimate Provider. For more information, contact 888-367-5433 or talk to one of our representatives. Guardian Life. Live secure. Live easy.
A survivor of gunshots to the head. She went to death's door, but God had bigger plans. Friday, January 21, Minister Samantha Gardner Blake from Crawl River, Clarendon released her songs entitled Under the Blood, comprehensive blood coverage, and God turned it around. She shares her story and her passion to fulfill her God-given ministry. Catch the life-changing story this Friday, January 21 at 11 a.m. right here on the family station, Love 101.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's take a look at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. In the Gleaner, Robinson and Clark spar over missed bauxite earnings. And we see also abuse of office. St. Anne Municipal Corporation CEO slammed for approving charging port for Belnavis. We also see that ex-prisoner suing government for impotence. In the Observer, major law revision. New Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs promises to fix chaos in legislative process. And also, woman sacrificed at Kevin Smith's cult church gets emotional send-off. And then finally, down to 2. Stets, Edwin Allen to contest Ben Francis Cup final. Those are some of the major stories in our newspapers. Coming up next, we'll read some of the feedback from our social media question. What do you do to avoid conflicts with others? Please leave a comment on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, Love 101 FM Jamaica, or WhatsApp 876-997-3125. Soon come back.
Do women find the men more attractive with a fresh haircut or a properly groomed beard? Do men have a self-care regimen, or is grooming just not a man thing? We'll find out this Wednesday, January 19, inside the Mailbox, the program designed for men, hosted by men, with guests who are men. as we take a look at men's grooming and self-care. What are some must-dos and haves for men when it comes to grooming? And how can a man start his self-care regimen? So join us as we discuss this and more inside the new season of The Mailbox this Wednesday, January 19 at 5:30 p.m. with hosts Kevin Bailey and Courtney Morrison. And it will be happening here on Love 101, the family station.
We ever run them out when they got man them there. No matter what they look and they chat them there. Don't know 3 times when they on them there. And I did never plan me with
Welcome back. You're tuned in to the Morning Watch, and I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now join Siobhan for a look at how our Facebook and WhatsApp friends answer today's question. What do you do to avoid conflicts with others, Siobhan?
All right. So Cherry says, don't try to be right, but to do what is right. Let's talk and be quiet or take on myself. All right. Let me hear.
Makes sense.
Yeah, let me hear what Phyllis is saying.
Makes sense.
Good morning, good morning. You know what I do when trouble come? I follow this song. Walk away from trouble if you can. Sometimes I might smile or something, but I always walk away from trouble and avoid you.
Hold on then. Take a look at this song.
When trouble comes, when crisis comes,
I had to.
That's your comment. That's your comment, Chevy. That's your comment. All right. We want to thank all those who sent their feedback, including Siobhan. All right. All right. As we segue into the second watch, we'll hear more of that song later here, Siobhan.
You see where so.
All right. As we segue into the second watch, in Jamaica, it is felt that our inability to deal with conflicts in a non-violent manner is the cause for much distress. Indeed, death and mayhem may occur every day because persons do not know how to or even want to agree to disagree. And this happens not just within families, but even with random persons on the street. This morning, as we continue our series, New Year, New You, we are asking the question, how do you relate to others and what are the appropriate steps to resolving the conflicts? And to assist us in answering these questions, we have joining us Dr. Hyacinth Peart, counseling psychologist. Good morning, Dr. Peart, and the best wishes for 2022.
Good morning, Dr. Toussaint, and the same back to you.
Great. Good to have you with us as usual. All right, let's see if we can hit the ground running, Dr. Peart. We're talking about conflict resolution. Let's begin with the whole matter of conflict. What really is conflict, Dr. Peart?
Basically, conflict is any kind of disagreement, any kind of struggle, fight, quarrel between probably two or even more persons who have opposed views based on their needs, their ideas, and their beliefs. They're in constant argument and can't agree to anything because each person wants to have his or her own way. It can also be an inner struggle, a struggle with the self to reach some kind of decision. You have a decision, a situation to resolve, but you just can't get to it. You keep, each day you get up, it comes to you. And it sometimes produces greater stress because you're not finding the way out. So struggle in making some decisions, struggle in resolving even issues, further inner struggle in resolving issues with others.
Yeah. I want to ask you about the causes in a while, but before I do, based on what you just said, is conflict avoidable? And is it always undesirable?
I believe that
I'm not sure if others are hearing Dr. Peart. I certainly am not. Siobhan, could you help me with that, please? I'm not hearing her. I don't know what's going on. Siobhan?
Yes, Rev.
I'm not hearing Dr. Peart. I don't know if it's
Dr.
just
Peart
me.
with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. I'm sorry, Dr. Peart. We weren't hearing you a while ago. At least I wasn't. Could you repeat what you
I
just
wasn't
said?
hearing you clearly too. I have to be straight
Okay.
to hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, a little better.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I was saying that because we are of different personalities, we are from different backgrounds. You know, we have different views, different opinions on situations. Conflict is inevitable. We're going to have conflict of one sort or another. The issue is, how do we manage the conflict? And there are some things that become conflict which need not have become conflict, but based on our own way of living, we see them as conflict.
Mm-hmm. And it's not always undesirable. It's good to have conflict sometimes, is it?
Oh yes, there are some situations that you really have to, you mean going back and forth as it were, in order to come. But people are in agreement with this kind of situation. So conflict can be helpful, but it can be negative. And the negativity comes when we don't manage the conflict in a correct way.
Yes. What are the causes now of conflict?
I mean, they are so varied and many.
Mm-hmm.
As I said earlier, persons want to have their way. It's my way or the highway. Yeah. So if I'm not having my way, it's going to be a situation. But let's look at some quickly. Like at the workplace, you have a role to play. You have a responsibility. But every now and again, more is heaped upon you, not what you agreed to. So this creates, discontent. This creates disharmony. Sometimes you want to put people in teams at the workplace, and these persons are not carefully selected. You don't look at the person and you see that they will clash.
Mm-hmm.
Time management is another area. In the home, I mean, you could go on and on, but in the home, where we have young children or teenagers, we have a clash where curfew is concerned, where when they want to be out for a certain hours and the parents are saying no. So there's conflict with parents and children in curfew hours, in the selection of friends, in the selection of the clothes they wear, that kind of thing. The matter of raising children can also become a conflicting situation in the family, because daddy is saying one thing, mommy is saying another thing. They are not on the same wavelength. So they have conflict. Money is a big issue in relationships, in marriages, at the workplace, wherever. On the road, when you're traveling on the road, conflict arises in the way people drive and the way they treat others on the road. So you might have a clash there, yeah, which sometimes do not end up well. Lack of respect, self-respect. And if I can't respect myself, it's difficult to respect others. So the whole respect issue is another thing that causes conflict. Dishonesty, openness, accountability, transparency, all of these. A big one too is communication.
Mm-hmm.
We misunderstand, we perceive what we heard, when in truth and in fact that was not so. A number of things. And persons going through stress that also create conflict in lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we soon be coming to a break, but before we go to the matter of conflict resolution, because I want to go there quickly, but I must ask you, what roles do you think things like personality traits, gender, age, and social conditioning play in conflict? And think about that, Dr. Peart, while we take the break and be right back.
This is Love 101 at 7:45.
Tons of things that tear us apart are the ones that unite us and bring us closer together. Sometimes the darkest of night turns into a day so bright, leaving the scars and the pain, everything that we fear behind us. Where there is life, let's keep on dreaming. Where there is love, let's find unity. Where there is hope, keep on believing, keep holding on. So never give up through wind and storm. 'Cause after the rain, there'll be a calm. Sunshine of a new day, it won't be long. Keep holding on.
A message from Sagicor. Digicel, the winner's circle for the second year running. This time walking away with the award for Jamaica's fastest mobile network, best mobile coverage and fastest home fiber internet. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, Digicel.
Didn't catch that? It's just the truth. Digicel is the fastest LTE and home fiber internet in Jamaica, giving coverage and speeds you can rely on over and over again. Digicel, better together.
Get ready for the Woman Ignite Success Summit 2022. 2 days of intense worship and conversations about building kingdom wealth, leadership, marriage and relationship, mental health, finding purpose, and more. Featuring mental health expert Dr. Caroline Leaf, LA-based entrepreneur Heather Lindsay, plus worship with Rhoda Isabella, Alicia Taylor, Nadine Blair, and friends. Woman Ignite Success Summit, a life transforming event. January 28 and 29, Corley Auditorium, Kingston. Book virtual or limited in-person VIP tickets at womanigniteja.com. Powered by Digicel, Sagicor, One Group, Jamaica Observer, and Love FM.
You're invited to listen to Dollars and Cents every Thursday at 8:16 a.m. We'll give you tips on how to make your money count, how to save, and how to grow your worth. It's all inside Dollars and Cents, brought to you by BPM Financial Limited, taking you higher. That's Dollars and Cents every Thursday at 8:16 a.m. on the family station, Love 101.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. You see, 2 weeks ago, we started a series entitled New Year, New You. And we've been asking the questions, are we eating right, sleeping right, exercising right, thinking right? And this morning, we are asking, are we relating to others right? And we have online Dr. Hyacinth Peart, family counselor. And she has been guiding us, carrying us through the whole aspect of conflict and trying to understand it. And in so doing, we're trying to find out the causes behind it. And I asked her before the break about personality traits, gender, age, social conditioning. What roles do these play in the whole matter of conflict? Dr. Peart.
Very strong role. We think of the matter of personality traits. And people are different. And sometimes we don't accept that. We believe that everybody must think and act the way we do. And this is not so. Some persons are strong-willed, they're opinionated, and so they want to hold on to their side. The person who is somebody of low self-esteem, that is also another area that creates conflict because the person sees themselves as being victimized at all times, and so they do not get along with others, right? So the whole personality situation, because we're different, we're going to have different views, we're going to have different opinions, we're going to behave differently, we're going to have some values that another person or other persons do not have, and we believe that they should measure up to our way, and the other persons don't feel that way. So that creates the conflict.
Right.
In terms of age, right? The older persons believe that they must deal with the young ones anyhow. There's no please, there's no thank you. You must listen to me and you must hear what I say. So the younger person sometimes do not get a chance to express themselves. That creates conflict. And in gender role, where the male feel this is my responsibility, the female feel this is my response, and we can't meet together to work on certain issues because I hold this is my role. Don't cross it as a child. So in marriages, we have that conflict too in terms of male dominance often against female dominance or lack thereof. So in our personality, in our age, in the stages of life, status, in situations where persons are in need, that creates conflict because they feel that we should have more. And sometimes we put pressure on, let's say, a family where one or two persons are working, and we expect those two persons to carry everything, bear all the obligations, and we take a back seat. And when it doesn't happen, we have this kind of quarreling and pulling and pushing, and the conflict goes on. So all of these play a significant role in the whole conflict situation.
Right. So now we go to conflict resolution. What is it really, and what are the steps you suggest in resolving conflict?
I believe that conflict resolution is a way for, whether it is two persons or say two or more persons, to find some kind of peaceful solution to their disagreement. Whether the disagreement is personal, emotional, political, financial, or sometimes even spiritual.
Yes.
Believe it or not, there is conflict.
Oh, yes.
Even in the church.
Oh, yes.
Yes?
Yes.
So, it's a way that we're going to find. Sometimes the persons involved in the conflict may not be able to resolve. So they might have to have a mediator, somebody who is there with them to guide them through. All right? But there are some necessary steps to resolve conflict. Very important. We have to know what the conflict is about. So you have to identify what's the issue. What is it we're feuding about? We have to understand where each person's at. Yeah? What is each person feeling? It calls for a lot of compassion. If we really want to resolve issues, we have to think that it's not about me, but it's about us in this situation. So you have to think about the other person too. Then we do a kind of brainstorming. Each person, okay, we agree that we're going to try to resolve. Let us look at some possible solutions. And each person is allowed a chance to give their ideas, right? Then you're going to evaluate, look at each of these solutions to see which one is really workable now, which one may have to be put for another time, right? So you agree now on what you're going to do, having gone through and you evaluate the options you came up with. It's important to know that we document, we write down what is it that we agreed to. All right? So you agree on how you're going to manage it, how you're going to go through working through this. But there are times when a situation may come up that may delay the plan you have. You have to agree from the outset also that there could be something that come in, that intervenes. So we have to work through that aspect before we continue, right? Critical in the whole matter of conflict resolution is that we focus on the behavior. Don't focus on the person. Don't start telling out the person what they like and what they this and what they... No, we have to focus on the issue at hand. If the conflict is about the car, we deal with the car, nothing else but the car. And we must tune our ears, our heart, and our eyes to listen carefully to what it, you have to stay in it. You have to stay in the process if you're really going to work it through, right? The plan must be developed together, not just me one side, but us together working through that plan. And there are 5 ways in which persons, they may not see that way, but this is what the psychologists are saying. There's a whole matter of accommodating or smoothing. Everybody knows what a teddy bear is. And a teddy bear is something you can hug, you can smooth, you can throw it away, do whatever. So we take that approach, have a conflict. So we're going to just, go through, party it, and enjoy, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is avoiding or withdrawing. And we know the turtle. When the turtle is attacked, it pulls under the shell and hide away. And sometimes persons hide. They're going through conflict, but as Louise Bennett says, they grin and bear it. They just pull in, withdraw.
Yes.
So that when the course is clear, they can come back out. But right now, they pull away. And then there's a compromising, like the fox. You take some, I take some. That word sometimes doesn't always work, but the compromising, right?
Right.
And then there is like the shark. The shark is competing and forcing. It's going to grab you, it's going to take off a limb, a hand, a leg, but it's going to take something. It's not just going to go like that. And those of us who are from rural Jamaica, we know the owl, what we call a patu.
Mm-hmm.
And the patu is confronting. I don't know if you used to walk in the night, but I've heard stories. You're going in this, and suddenly you hear, oh!
Right.
The owl confronts, it collaborates, it draws your attention. And this more so is what we need to confront, but in a non-aggressive way. We are putting the matter out and we're going to work, we're going to collaborate, we're going to work together, we're going to discuss to see that whatever is causing us not to be together, not to be in harmony, is dealt with.
So the owl approach is the one we should adopt? Is the owl approach that we should adopt based on what you're saying?
Yeah, but the thing is that different people take on different roles. But I believe that the approach of collaborating, discussing, working it through together is the approach, And confronting does not always have to be in a negative sense.
Right.
We confront, we face the issue head on and tell ourselves, I cannot continue like this. This is a new time, new beginning. Yeah? So I'm going to make a change. Yes.
Right. What about conflicts that are unresolved? We have 1 minute, really. But what about those that are unresolved? How do we deal with that? That after we have done all that you have just said, Dr. Peart, how do you deal with the fact that you don't feel as if it's resolved?
There are some situations, to be honest, Dr. Tyler, that the more you push, is the more it becomes worse. And if it is unresolved and you get a mediator to help you to work it through, and it's not working through, we just have to let it go. And one of the things that I would encourage, if you have to deal with unresolved, you try not to harbor unforgiveness. You need to forgive and to free yourself. Yeah, because sometimes we keep things going, we harbor it, and it makes us sick. Right?
Yes.
So get a mediator. That is not working. You try different ways. Sometimes we just have to let it be and allow it to work itself out. And I want to also say that unmanaged conflict leads to destructive resolution. And that is why sometimes we have some of this domestic violence, right? The conflict is not carefully managed. And so we have destructive resolution. We resolve it our way, the jungle justice and so on, but we're still not free. But managed conflict, when we manage our conflict, we get positive change and personal growth because relationship is renewed and rebuilt. And you yourself grow as a result of resolving, getting this out of your system, forgiving, letting go, and moving on.
Yes, and I'm remembering that passage, I believe, in Romans 12, which says, as much as is possible and lieth within you, live peaceably.
Peaceably with all men.
With all men and women, children. Thank you so very much, Dr. Hyacinth Pierre, for joining us this morning again and for giving us your insightful information. Have a productive day.
Thank you. Thank you, and the same to you.
All right. Thank you, listeners, for being with us. Join us again tomorrow as we continue to set the stage for a discussion of topical and controversial issues. For information how to get copies of this program, call our production department at 876-968-9596-7. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Miss Kathy Gale, and our guests. I'm Dylan Toussaint, handing you back to Love in the Morning with peaceful Shivani Lair.
Have a good one. This is Love, folks. It's 8 o'clock. Time now for the program Forward in Faith, brought to you